You
What's
there?
up? I'm
Cool.
here.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Is it sounding okay on your end?
Yes, 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 yes.
All right, let's do this. This time it's gonna be clear.
Yeah,
We're
no,
gonna bring
no
some
feedback.
clarity.
Bring some clarity. I share. Yes,
Yes, yeah, clarity to the message, ever that may be today.
exactly. Hmm.
Um, yeah, how you feeling?
I'm actually doing well. Got very good energy today. So feeling good, productive. Doing things that I didn't think that I would have had the energy to do, but have more than enough energy to do all the things that I planned on doing. So I'm in that energy.
That's awesome. It's a good
Hmm.
feeling. Yeah,
Yes, it is.
absolutely. Yeah, I just did a training this weekend, and that was man, like at first I didn't know I was seriously going into it. Like I had some things come up, some
Mhm.
wild things, just little dramas and stuff, kind of sporadically shot up. And
Mhm.
I'm like, here I am getting ready to go into this training with these people and like give them this transformative palette. And like, I'm like, all right, spirit, what it's all you. Like I don't even know, but I managed. I ended up having more energy, gaining more energy, and it was just beautiful.
Mhm. That's
But
a
it was
beautiful feeling.
mm-hmm. It's do
Mhm.
you find sometimes when you're doing things like you're doing something, I feel like it always comes with transformation work, but when you're doing that something powerful, it's like all of a sudden like these lower vibrations just kind of like show
Yeah,
up.
yeah, but you know what they say, right? When a when a positive force is applied, a
Hmm.
equal or even more powerful negative force is
Yeah.
applied, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you gotta kind of prepare for the
Hmm.
mishaps. Because if you like building relationships or building teams, it's
Hmm.
good if everything is good. But then when things are bad, what we tend to notice is that the team falls, the relationship is over. And from my perspective, it's usually because we don't listen to that old school new edition, can you stand the rain, right? Like that's a very important aspect to all things, like, because there's no guarantees. But having the proper energy and the proper mindset to say, if bad things do occur, I'm going to be prepared for it. That is probably the key to manifestation that many people leave out, right? Because, say, for instance, a person has a goal, right? And it's like, whatever happened to that goal you were talking about? Well, this bad thing happened, and I just kind of threw it by the wayside. And it's like, okay,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that's just the end of your dreams. Then I guess what we're gonna do next, and it's kind of disheartening a lot of times if you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, as we do the work, we it's like there's a certain wisdom that comes with that, and I was listening to something you were talking about the other day, on the sex and spirituality talk, and
Hmm.
you were talking about my favorite thing, and you're talking about foundation and
Hmm.
fundamentals,
Hmm.
and you just said it. You basically just said everything I was thinking. It's the preparation. Like if you're not prepared when these things happen, you just you know where are you gonna go with it? You go up or you crumble. And
Right. And
so,
sometimes you don't prepare, you don't know, and then you respond. That's cool, right? But
right.
you don't want to sometimes people it feels like they normalize, like, I'm just going to be in this relationship with this guy or this girl, and as long as
Mhm.
things are fine, cool. First sign of trouble, I got my track shoes in my backpack or in my purse. So so it's like this is how we're dealing with things, right? Just
Yes.
running, and we're not
Yeah.
actually, we don't have any fundamentals. We don't have any foundation. We're literally looking for the best possible situation and scenario. And when it's not that, we have no recourse.
Yeah.
And I personally think that's like not a good thing, right? Like, I think that's not
Yeah.
a way to deal with people and build relationships or even fill out a job application, to whereas, like, okay, when the job gets tough, you're just going to leave the job. And it's just like, I see that
Yeah.
so often that it's super weird.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's the going, that's the going, I don't say the going rate, but that's the
Right,
going, like, that's what people do, you know?
right, right.
Yeah.
They dump you when it gets hard. So that's not cool though. At the end of the day.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say, like, if I was to ask you, like, what would help, like, people, set their foundations or start to prepare in some way, just in light, in
Hmm.
general? What would you, what's the first thing that comes up?
The beginning and the end, right?
Right?
At the same time, right? Never go into things with an abstract ending, right?
Hmm.
Period.
Hmm.
Even when you are in business, they like when you like go to a real school that's teaching you about business plans, a majority of that time they'll be talking to you about exit strategy, exit strategy, exit strategy. And you're like, for what, right? Because if your business doesn't have a plan, your business will it can't actually grow if you really think about
Yes.
it. So it's very important to know what's the end of this relationship. Like would it
Hmm.
like for me and my wife, the end of our relationship is when one of us transitions, right? That's 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 when our relationship is over in this
Yeah.
realm. But even past that, I personally feel like we'll be together in another realm. Like, I hope that we
Right.
transition together, right? That's my dream.
Right.
But overall, like when it comes to our business, when it comes to our children, I
Hmm.
want intelligent, smart children that can critically think for themselves, that have strong survival skills. I want my boys to be strong. These are all intentions that I have discussions with my wife. So how are we going to do that? They go karate 2 days a week. We homeschool. They have to study 4 hours a day, right? And this is all based upon our family structure. Like,
Yeah.
it's we talk about everything. Like, is literally no rock should be unturned in the
Yeah.
realm of relationships. So it's like, all right, how long should it be before we should, like, 9 months to a year? Because think of all of the things that you actually have to figure out about this person. And I have a conversational self reflection thing that I can say about myself, but I also know that there's things that I can't even verbalize about myself, right? You just gonna have to see it when it happens, and then we'll
Yeah.
respond to that. So giving yourself enough time to learn and like really
Yeah.
like learn a person is how you build that foundation. And from that point, you
Mhm.
say, all right, what are we actually doing now? So when you decide like we're dating versus getting married, right? That's the marriage is we know exactly what we're doing in life. I know that she wants
Right.
to be a ballerina. I want to be a football player. And this is our support structure. This is the time that we have to ourselves. You kind of crazy, right? So I'm gonna give you your crazy space, like everything, right? Because when we
Yes.
see these things, it's like, where's my track shoes? But if you just sat with a person, you would evolve into understand that person if you just were patient. So it's like
Right.
it's like the architectural understanding. Like we have to figure out we just have to get a feel for each other. No planning, no nothing. And then once you say, okay, we're going to take it seriously, we know exactly the end of
Yeah.
our relationship, because a relationship and being by yourself is two separate things. When you by
Yeah.
yourself, you can kind of wing it, go, pick flowers. But when you in a relationship, everything you do is reflected upon your partner, whether you like it or not. And if you don't have the basis of that pisses me off, right? And you just feel like, I don't care if it pisses you off, but it's like a relationship. You can't just say that you don't care and then you love a person at the same time. Literally, it's you becoming one. So it's best to know exactly what you want to get
Yeah.
from this versus I don't really want to move to the country. I
Right.
absolutely want to live in the country. So that's a horrible relationship at that precipice, like at that root foundational point. Y'all have two separate ideals for your lives. It's better to discuss that early as opposed
Yeah,
to just going 2 years and saying, well, I really hate this country living. I want to move back to the city. You probably
right.
wasted 2 years without actually having a conversation. So I would
Yeah.
say knowing exactly what you want without
Hmm.
compromise. Because if you
That's good.
compromise with a person, you're just saying, I don't care about my happiness.
Exactly. And it's
There's no
really,
point for that.
yeah, there really isn't. I mean, I think that's part of the, preparation, that's why you don't just, I mean, I see people out doing, I observe a lot. And so, obviously I see people around me. It's like, I just think everybody wants to date, everybody wants to do all these things and like be with all these people and have free sex and like, this
Hmm.
and that. But then it's like, but it's like, where are you preparing for anything? Where have
Like,
you figured out who you are and what you got going on? You're just out making messes, basically, right?
period. Period. Like, because
Yeah.
imagine sex being the portal for all spirituality.
Yeah.
Like, even in a simplest sense, like when you think about sex, you're thinking about something that is transformative in its performance. It's not something that
Hmm.
you can just get at the store. It's very special.
Yeah.
However, if you what is really about is sexual communication. That's what it's
Yes.
truly about, because
Like,
sex is so beautiful and
yes.
magical, but we're not even talking, right? We're just doing it, right? And
Hmm.
it's like we have this capability to feel great, to transcend our emotional complexity through sex, not the actual act, but the
Right.
conversation.
Yes, I love that. Love that.
It's so powerful to just build a trust and a confidence in your partner through, I don't like this. And this is what I truly like,
Yeah.
and how can I accommodate you? How can I please you? What is the flow to this thing? Can we just stand in each other's presence and be intimate as we explore each other's depths? Because in a marriage, what you notice is that, well, what I've noticed is that my wife had unhealed trauma, right?
Yes.
I've had unhealed trauma, but
Yeah.
the only thing that provoked it is our presence and holding space to say, what's that? I'll tell you a quick story. The whole reason that I got onto this kick was it came from a dream. And
Hmm.
it was a dream about my wife with another man. And I seen the man very clearly, so I described the man to her. And
Hmm.
that man was somebody that was, let's just say, he violated, right, my wife. And I seen that, right? But she never
Wow.
told me, right, about it.
Wow.
So me saying it's this guy that looks like this, he was wearing this, and in y'all was consummating your relationship. And she said,
Uh-huh.
oh wow, that was the guy that, when I was in college, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh my God, that's crazy. Like, why didn't you tell me?
mm,
But also, let's talk about this. Let's explore this because this is hidden in the
yes.
precipices of our being, and we need to bring this out because
Uh-huh.
I love you, right? I'm here
Mm,
for you. But sometimes when we're not intimate and we're not having sexual communication, so let's just say the act of sex is something that we're doing, but the trauma is the same modality, it's the same function. So you have a traumatic sexual experience and you also have a beautiful sexual experience, but the traumatic sexual experience, if not communicated and worked through, it's tainting
yeah.
our experience, whether we know it
Yes.
or not, whether we have the communication for it or not. And it's very important for people in partnerships to explore these things
Yes.
because this is the person that you actually are doing these things with. So who better than to have the communication with and actually move past it. It's very important to say for instance, you say, well, I don't want to have this conversation because my partner may judge me.
Mm.
Well, why would you have a partner that judges you? Like,
Yes,
how does that work?
I know. I know. No, that's you said something about that yesterday, and it's something I know clearly, but it's so funny how we like it's just, why would you be with anybody you wouldn't feel 100, like you got to be 100% honest, and if they run for the hills, then that was praise God,
What's supposed to
bye.
happen?
Yeah,
Because your truth is not going to be absolved by a person's reaction to it.
that's right.
It
That's
is.
right. Yeah. Mhm.
As quick as we can get comfortable with our truths, our traumas, our violations, the better
Yeah.
our relationships will be if our relationship is rooted in love. That's what I explained to my wife. I love you. And
Mhm.
I've actually been trained and initiated into loving a woman. So when I say that, it's not no specifics that you can do to make me turn my back on you, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not about that. It's about showing you love and showing you something in reference to being spiritual, right? Like, so
Mhm.
in my understanding, when I'm activating my spiritual energy, I'm connecting to the infinite. And
Mhm.
I give a lot to a lot of people, but what really brings me the truest joy is when I'm able to give to my wife. And I'm not like, well, I gave you this, where's mine in return? I'm intentional for years about providing and giving to this woman because
Mhm.
that's what my spirituality has evolved into. Like I truly, truly believe that I can and I will and I do, and
Mhm.
it's more energy than I ever thought I could possibly muster. She drives me and builds me up because I want to provide for her, right? But this is
Mhm.
spiritual love. It's not about what she's doing or what she's not doing or what she looks like or what she doesn't look like, what she's been through. Everything is wiped off the table the same way as God would love a human being. God's not
Mhm.
loving the perfect people. He loved people with mistakes that mess up whatever. It's not even a fact of judgment. It's just pouring into this person and the
Mm.
feeling that I get from pouring into this person. So all of that to say, uh, having a real relationship with a partner, you're going to uncover some nasty stuff. And if you ain't prepared for that, and if you're saying, well, when I do get to the nasty part, I'm gonna be triggered or I'm gonna be run or I'm gonna run,
Right.
then you're probably not ready for anybody, right?
That's
So
it. Yeah.
gotta be prepared for the trauma and the negative energy so you can work through it because you love this
100%.
person, quote unquote, I want to be
Yeah.
with you and all of this, and then you copulate with each other. So there's like like the fine print. When you
Yeah.
having sex with a woman, it's a lot of fine print. You gotta work through her traumas. You gotta heal the past energies. You gotta pour into her. You gotta support.
So,
And it's like, oh, why do I gotta do
yeah.
all that? Because
Yeah.
you didn't read the
So it's
fine
kind of
print.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so beautiful what you're saying. And hearing it from a man is really beautiful. Because I hear a lot of responsibility in it. It's like, that's what I think people forget is there's the responsibility to
Mhm.
all of it, really, on both ends.
Everything,
It's not, yeah,
everything, yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
everything. We're spiritual
everything.
beings. We're advanced beings. So the part of it is being responsible and not like the hardest part. It's not blaming people for my iniquities and my troubles and my trauma, but taking
Mm-hmm.
responsibility spiritually to correct things that irritate me. That's the
That's it.
hardest part,
That's
but
it. All is self.
you can do it. You can do it though. I truly know that you can actually take responsibility for the negative and the positive.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned it's something that that's come up a couple times to me recently. So, but you said it too. Is it was I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was to do with you have to love and there's loving and bonding, and there is like the
Mm.
difference of loving and bonding. Like when you're, you know what I'm. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
talking
What I'm not-
yeah,
Yeah.
talking to my wife, I advanced that thought. It's the
Uh-huh.
difference between connection and attachment. True
Yes. Yes.
spontaneity and obligation, and and the reality is that you can't shirk off obligation, you can't shirk off attachment, but you can't shirk off connection too. So
Hmm.
in order to establish connection, we have to really strive for purity within
Yeah.
ourselves to be connected and present with our partners, because it's so easy to say it's Tuesday, it's time for you to do the grocery shopping, right? It's your responsibility to rub my feet and you ain't rubbing my feet, and it's just like all of this tension and energy, and that is an attachment. And the
Hmm.
attachment is there because we're attached to each other. However, it does not have to be toxic. We can always strive to look
Yeah.
at our partners like, who are you again? Like, role playing and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Being able to be new and connected. Like, all right, like it might sound crazy to say, but your partner, y'all should just be like, let's meet at a bar or something. Like, because say
Uh-huh.
for instance, if you don't do that, and but you like doing stuff like that. You like the fact of like going to hang out and meeting the chick at the bar. What if your wife did that, right? She put on a wig, and it sounds crazy, but it's easy to be attached. It's harder to
Oh
build the
no,
connection with
I
people,
get it. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I've always seen it like that, and it's in a way, like, in my preparation. So when I think about these things, I'm like, there's so many ways to make life creative and fun, and even
Yes.
relationally to keep it like
Keep it
fresh and
fresh. Yes.
new. Yeah,
Yes. You have
it's just
to.
being, yeah, absolutely, and it's just really not that difficult. I think
It's
people, I think
not.
are no. We make it difficult in our little human minds, but it really isn't that difficult. It's actually, I think, more exciting and thrilling in my mind at this
Yeah,
point, or in my
at
heart.
this
It's like,
point, yeah, at this point in
yeah,
my life, it feels
yeah,
more natural to be new and fresh and spontaneous, period.
yeah, 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 and it's expansive, it's all expansive, and you're still, and if you have that foundation, like I said, like you were saying, you're healing, that you're continually healing, you're continually doing the work. It's not like it never ends, but you can make it beautiful. It doesn't have to be this tragic drama, or
Absolutely not. We have to really learn how to communicate and
yeah,
be able to like use our communication as a sword. Because think about it, the
yes,
tongue is a
yeah,
sword, right?
uh-huh.
Words, anagram for sword, right? So think about that, where you speaking your authentic truth and people are running for the hills. That's actually what's supposed to happen. We try
Yeah,
to manipulate our truth to attract people and bring people in, but
right.
you got to start to think of your truth as a sword that's going to cut and trim the fat of people who don't mean you well.
I love that. Yeah, you're so right there.
Mhm.
That's right on. Yeah. And I really think like sitting still, it's just sitting still long enough, and even like it relationally, sitting still with somebody instead of, like, but of course it's, somebody in the same vibe, in the same trajectory.
Mm.
But just sitting with it, and not like, it's the same as sitting with self, but if you have never sat with self, then you're probably not gonna, you ain't gonna be able to figure it out.
You're making me think about something in reference to vibration in
Hmm.
relationships, where
Hmm.
if a partner is low vibe and another partner is high vibe, then that's the issue, right? So we can't
Right.
sit with each other. Like if you're a low
Yeah.
vibrational person, you're like, let's go out, let's have fun. I want to do this, I want to do that, because I need to constantly have my attention stimulated because my vibratory frequency is low. So in relationships, we need to figure out how to keep the vibrations high. I really
Yeah.
strive for couples to go out into nature together, right? Take
Oh
walks in the park, state park energy, like
yeah.
beaches, rivers, because
It's
I
so true.
honestly know that me and my wife bonded and connected it completely in and through nature. And really
Hmm.
nature is like free for real too. So it's like you can save money. Like you're like, well, let me take you out on a date to a restaurant. If you really
Right.
love her, you would take her to the forest and walk with her because
That's
30
it. That's
minutes
good.
into nature, your photosynthesis in your brain triggers into a whole different frequency and vibration.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And when two
agree.
people are in that energy, it's not even like we're sitting in the same space. We can walk in the same space, climb in the same space. We're just one in nature. I feel
Hmm.
as human beings disconnected from nature, it's always going to be up and down. It's always going to be parasitic because we are hurting if we don't know where to get our sustenance from.
That's
So it's
it.
always these things like, let's go out, let's have fun, let's do this. And it's like high vibe, low vibe
Right.
kind of
I think,
contrast. So
yeah.
you made me,
Keep,
you triggered that. Keep the vibes
hmm.
high in your relationship.
Yeah. Keep it balanced, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Keep it flowing. Keep it
So
flowing.
important. So important.
Yeah. So somebody asked me this the other day, when I did a podcast, and I thought I would ask you. It's a real simple question. But so it's like, if like, what would you say the solution for humanity in the state that it's in? What would you say the solution right now would be for humans?
Oh, such a powerful question. And it's like I got an answer. Uh and whatever. I got an answer, so I'll answer it. Because it's like it's one of those things that I was saying in
Hmm.
2020, like the beginning of 2020.
Hmm.
I was doing like some astrological observations, and I noticed that Pluto was transiting
Uh-huh.
from Sagittarius to Pluto. I mean, from Sagittarius to Capricorn and sidereal
Mm.
astrology, and it was on the cusp. And I said, okay, what does this look like? And I know that Capricorn is Saturnian, is psychic, and I felt like human beings, a large percentage of them, absolutely have souls. And
Hmm.
human beings absolutely cannot identify their souls to save their lives. Literally, to save their lives, they could not identify and picture and have a context and a concept for their living soul. And they are that. They are the
Right.
soul for which they are, right? So
Yeah.
when the turn of 2020 came, I put out a video and I had the Kermit the Frog meme, and I said 2020 shadow work is necessary. You need to be motivated by your soul, or else it's going to get crazy out here in these streets. I was watching a lot of shows, man. I watched The Leftovers for 3 years, and I said, "Oh, this is coming." And then the same person who did Leftovers, Damon Lindelof, he did The Watchmen at the end of 2019. I said, "Oh, it's finally here." And I said,
Hmm.
"We need to be spiritually
There
aware.
we go.
We
That's
need
it.
to we need to look within ourselves."
Yes.
And COVID came,
Yep.
and people had to be, they couldn't be the
Yeah.
person that they were purposed to be. They had to sit with their wife, they had to sit with their children. The
Yep.
reality of me and my family is that we've been living on lockdown since 2016. we've
Back right.
already we've already been in the house, like not
Yes.
homeschooling our children and all of that. Like, so it was
Mhm.
like, okay, we can get a sense for what's happening, and it's about psychic development. Now, if humanity as a whole does not have a department of psychic development, we got a Department of Homeland Security, we got a Department of Education, we got a Department of
Mhm.
Agriculture. We got a
Yeah.
department of energy. We have a department for oil. We got departments on top of departments. But can you tell me that you can honestly say, like, I know that there is a soul within me. It's something within me that knows the difference between good and bad.
Mhm.
I know that I'm not going to hurt a person or violate a person. I want the best for me and my children. I have a soul, but can I identify that? So
Mhm.
the solution is spiritual and psychic development, because as much as going on in outside of you, right? Like for a large percentage of us, we're still doing the thing that we've been doing, right? I mean, some of
Mhm.
us are not doing the thing that we were doing because it's like health is important. um, like decision making is important, emotional intelligence, like the rage that is within a lot of
Yes.
people is destroying themselves. And it's like,
Yes.
can you go within yourself and find that gentle divine
Yeah.
soul that you are, that brings about true transformation? I am
Beautiful.
just
Yeah.
a human being like anybody else, but when I do the spiritual awakening, I have a different form of consciousness that
Mhm.
is completely foreign to me. I don't
Yeah.
even realize who I am at a thinking level. I'll finish with this. In Kabbalah, they have Chokmah, Binah, and Keter.
Mhm.
These are the eyes behind you. You always have eyes behind you. You always have wisdom behind you, but we sometimes look completely ahead. Like we
Oh
never
man.
fathom the guardian angels and the souls that
Oh,
flank our left and our right. And so
yeah.
the solution is coming to grips with how powerful you are. And as the
Mhm.
world changes, you'll be able to create the soul's frequency and vibration. For whoever it
Mhm.
is, it might be different things for different people. For me, it is the transformation of living a communal life,
Mhm.
right? And doing the
Right.
necessary inner emotional works, and to lead and to create, and the
Yeah.
resource work, finances,
Yeah.
and everything for which I could build a community. And
Mhm.
that's what my introspection and reflection
That's
has brought me. What has it brought in you, right? That's soul
Mhm.
work is the solution, because
Yes.
we need communities. That's why I feel like I need a community. I need a safe space of people who are like minded.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful.
that's
Yes.
just me.
I love it. Everything you just said, complete resonance. I love it.
Cool.
And that's funny because everybody that she asked that question to, she was doing a series of questions.
Hmm.
Everybody, all of us generally went the same direction. It's all the same thing. Just going
Hmm.
inward,
Yeah.
purely doing this,
Period.
doing the soul work. It's taking the
Period.
responsibility, doing the work. That's it, you know? And when you do that, you set the tone for everybody around you without even saying a word. You don't got to do shit, really. You just emit.
You are the
You just be
creator.
you.
You are the sun.
Exactly.
Everybody orbits around you. And the sun
Exactly.
doesn't pull energy from the earth. The sun pulls energy from itself. And then it
Hmm.
shares its light and energy with the earth. See, if we can
Beautiful.
become more like gods, we could understand our place in the
Hmm.
world. It's greatness bestowed on a lot of us that don't realize the greatness, but it's like a
Yeah.
transformation. The old you has to disappear. And that's
Yeah.
the hard part for us. It's like, you mean the person that likes to go to the skating rink and eat hamburgers? That person's gone, never to be seen again. No more burgers in your hand.
Oh
Like,
my God.
you have to
It's so
change.
funny. It's so true. It's so true. That is the transformational work. That's it. And I know it's what you do. It's what I do. It's so powerful. It's just, I mean, it's just so powerful. The things you
It
begin to
is.
see and the revelations that come. It's just life. It gets exciting and very. It's just thrilling. Who needs TV when you got this kind of life? You don't need to
I
look.
haven't
You know.
watched TV in years, man.
I
Life
know.
is so entertaining, man.
Oh, I keep
It's so entertaining.
everything. Um, Yeah, so okay, that was awesome. Beautiful. And actually you mentioned something about it's funny because yesterday that came up a lot was look at the behind us, like our backs, like
Hmm.
how sometimes our aura just shrinks in our back area. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like, and you think people give stiff backs all the time, and like I don't
All
know,
the
it's something.
time, all that
Yeah.
tension in the back. Every time
Uh-huh.
I'm giving young ladies hugs, I'm like, goodness gracious, you're stressed out. And it's like, oh goodness, like people really feel scared and alone. They
Yeah.
internalize it to the core, and it's like you really need to get deeper to realize that you are not alone. And
Hmm.
I wish I
Yeah.
could I wish I could just say it and a person just receive it. Like,
Yeah.
just put them in
Yeah, I know.
a
Mhm.
chamber listening to Michael Jackson, You're Not Alone for 1,000 times in a row until it's like within their bloodstream that they realize that they are not alone. Because if you
Yeah.
internalize loneliness, that's nothing but stress.
It
Who's
all
going to
stress.
protect you? Who's going to love you? Who is going to guide you?
That's it. Yeah, 100%. It's a real
We all
thing.
need we've all been guided to a certain level to our in our
Yeah.
spiritual journey.
Hmm.
Intuition guides us. So if you have intuition,
Hmm.
that means that you're not alone. Somebody is speaking to you.
That's it. Yeah. Spirit is real. It's real.
It 100% is. So don't
Uh-huh.
be alone and stressed out. Especially our divine feminines, man. Out, man. Like,
I
get you a
know.
couple of candles and some cigars and some water and some liquor, and things start to change for y'all. I promise, man. I know too many women that have too many success stories of going within themselves and altering their reality because
That's
y'all are the
it.
goddesses. Y'all are the divine
That's,
feminines. Y'all are the true pinnacles of society in the
yeah.
realms of magic, man, in the
Hmm.
non-physical aura states. But a lot of our women think that they're alone,
Yeah. Too
you know?
many. I know. I know. And I mean, it's like I can look when I see it, I relate. I mean, I've felt it in my own self. So it's like I know exactly. I can identify it. I see it. And yeah, I wish I could, do the same thing, like wrap my arms around some girls sometimes and be like,
Man,
like if I could just tell you, like, but they
yeah,
gotta walk through it themselves, it's
yes.
that's
They
just
gotta
it.
they gotta want it themselves. And
That's it.
that's you don't want to waste time or hold
Hmm.
other people's journey up. Their soul is working with them the same way our souls was working with them, because it was times where we were looking crazy out here in the streets and people
Oh
wanted to speak to us and we were just like in our we just have to respect that transfer, that the darkness,
yeah.
because the
Uh-huh.
darkness is a powerful force as well. Darkness
Yeah.
brings you to the light. Can't
That's
like
it.
shirk the darkness. You got to kind of respect it and love it
Hmm.
and pull people out of it when they're ready. You'll see a couple of hands piercing through the fog, and you just grab them hands and pull them out. But you can
Yeah.
just be vigilant and aware and just wait for people who really are seeking transformation and pour into
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. And when that's the thing is like with the work I do, I just completely surrender it to spirit. Like, and I know
Hmm.
the beautiful part is the souls that show up, they're ready to go. There isn't like any kind of like, it's just beautiful because they're there in resonance. It's not like nobody forced them. Nobody said this is what you got to do. This is what
Yeah.
it is. They show up. You show up. We all show up when we, we show up when it's time. That's it. You know. Um. So yeah, foundational transformation. I think the
it's
the
it's
fund
powerful.
it is so powerful, and it's such a trip. I mean, the past few years, the journey I've been on, and that's exactly what spirits had me, with my everything from my soul purpose to like relationally, it's all about breaking me down to that, building that strong foundation. And the beautiful part is now I get to share that with people and, in ways that, it's like once you get so far, then you're able to kind of really help guide people or in some way, in that process. But it's just it's beautiful, and I feel like that's really where in the collectively we really kind of are. It seems residual to me, like it's just. synonymous with people. Foundation keeps coming up. Um,
I
but
think we're kind of confused about how to actually build a foundation because sex
yeah,
is so enticing and so put
yes.
on a pedestal in our society that when we start to like do the study where Yesod and Kabbalah means foundation and Yesod is connected to the sexual organs, it's our sexual
Mm,
organs are our foundation. And if we
yeah.
don't have the cognizance of the power that we hold, not through sexual acts, but speaking through our sexual energy. What I mean is that
Yes.
imagine
Mhm.
if you are not having sex, but you are in the mode and the mindset to communicate that energy. So the sexual
Mhm.
aspect is an energetic exchange. Now imagine two people saying, remember the energy that we had when we was having sex? What if we have the same energy to manifest in uh money for rent, right? But
That's
we're
it.
just going to talk and express it and just really try to source out those emotions and those frequencies because that same frequency can be transferred into other aspects other than, for a lack of a better words, reaching a climax or orgasm. Like
Right.
you can, like that climax or orgasm could be your new home, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is a feeling of bliss and tranquility, right? But it could be something tangible. And
Uh-huh.
it sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's about
No.
being
It makes
authentic
sense.
and intimate. It's like when you take your clothes off, you get turned on, but that's the same way as you being so authentic and honest. Like you're taking your proverbial etheric clothes off. You get to see all of me
Yes.
as opposed
Yeah.
to just what I'm trying
Yeah.
to show you. And that
It's
intimacy really opens us up to our greatest height. I truly know that.
absolutely. It's yeah, gosh, what was I about to say just now? Um yeah, it's and the intention. If you are, it's just it's the intentional aspect behind it and using that energy in that way and either doing it alone or doing it together with somebody. I mean, whatever, like, but the
However it
intent behind
flows.
it, yeah, however it flows, but like wherever you are, but ultimately that's how, only way I really see utilizing it always. Like I can't imagine thinking about it, in a physical,
In an
just a physical sense.
animalistic sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the
Yeah.
evolved sense of
It's
spiritual,
evolved.
like sex is evolved, and like our conversations evolve. Everything evolves.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so powerful. It's such a great conversation. I'm so glad I have you to talk about that on here
We,
with.
we, man, I'm gonna tell you, men don't even they don't get it. Like they just so conditioned. I mean, very few. Like, but a lot of men are just really, and I was one of those men who were like
Mhm.
very centered on the sexual release and never knowing that there were other things that you could actually do with sexual
Uh-huh.
energy. And to
Yeah.
really have conversations with women transcends having sex with women. I can have
Mhm.
a conversation with you every month and build our relationship and build
Mhm.
everything that we build in because God is the word, right? It didn't say
Mhm.
God is sex and like when our words and our communication, but if we don't like each other, we're not going to talk and we have no ways to manifest together. It's like Operation Shutdown. But if we communicate, when men and women communicate and build communications, that is so powerful. But men, I'm gonna
Absolutely.
tell you, as leaders, we can't. We'll talk to you, but we have that hidden ulterior motive that we don't suss
Right.
out and remove. So it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm talking to you, but you know what I want, right? And women, you can perceive that shit a mile away,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
that's very true.
And
Very
we
true.
need, and as men, we need to really understand that it's better
Right.
to be authentic in our expression with our divine feminine counterparts because we could do so much more together. Like
Right.
we just can.
And then, like, and then like if you do choose partnership with somebody, and then you actually can you are making love and like
Mhm.
building in that sort of way. I think that I see that as a really
It goes
another
crazy.
really
It's another
Mhm.
level of manifestation
Yes,
because you've
another
done the
level.
foundation. You built the
That's it.
foundation. You
That's
got the
it.
true foundation through communication. Now you can really expand and explore through the modality of sex. We try to
Mm-hmm.
have sex without the foundation, the communication. That's
Yeah.
the issue. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and for men, I'm
Love that.
sure if you hold that energy, you gonna find the right one, right? Because so many
Mm-hmm.
men just want to have sex with women that you gonna stand out like, but you got to be really about that. You can't just hear what I'm saying and say, "Oh, just repeat my words." You have to really understand that. You have to put your pride to the side and
Yeah.
pour into that divine feminine. It's like your
Mm-hmm.
sister. Like you gotta
Mm-hmm.
really love these women, and I honestly know that love, sexual desire, that's not love. That's for
No,
me.
it's love and you said it last night is love and affection. Love and affection. I for me, I know like for me that speaks to my heart more than anything. It's just that pure love and affection, and
Men, we need to
um,
learn how to be that way. We need to learn that,
absolutely.
like love, affection, without the like not foreplay. I really love you,
Hmm.
and I'm really affectionate, and this is my normal expression towards you because
Yeah.
it's I'm not trying to lead you on or trying to manipulate you. And
Hmm.
we so easy to do that that it taints and tarnishes the energy that we're trying to build, whether we know it or not. So really relationships for men is a lot of inner work and removing the lust and desire within ourselves because it's not always reciprocated as much as we wish it is.
Right.
Is more
Right.
of what we are doing in the relationship. So a young man wishes to have sex with a woman. An adult, mature man wishes to provide and protect. The reality
Hmm.
is a man has to feel that within himself first. I wish to provide and protect, and I seek the one that I provide and protect for. But
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a
Yep.
lot.
And women, and for women, it's the same too. I mean, there's the inner work that has to go on. But for a woman, you can't just expect a man to just show up and be like, "Oh, if your vibe is all, you know what I'm
you
talking about."
you said it,
There's a
Arlen, not me. You
yeah.
said it, Arlen. I don't
I'm
be
just
saying
saying.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm talking about, though. I mean,
I
there's a
know
lot of work
exactly
women
what
need
you
to do.
talk. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Prep-
Women got some crazy ideas going on sometimes, and I mean, I see it clearly.
beginning in the end, right?
Yeah,
Successful, happy, productive relationship. We're gonna work and build that foundation
yeah.
until that foundation is really hard. Then we'll build on
Yeah.
top of that. But until
That's it.
that foundation, we can't really hope for much. And that's
That's
really the
it.
key.
Yeah, you're right. That's great. That's great. I think that's a great note to take it off on. um, I did want to kind of come back to sidereal astrology. I don't know if
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
I got time. I got time. I got
okay.
time.
All
Mhm.
right, let's just kind of I want to reiterate because if hopefully, I think the last episode we did, or the podcast, was fantastic. That unfortunately couldn't hear much. But
Right.
but uh but I kind of want to just touch on again like sidereal versus tropical. What would
Mhm.
you let's go there.
Let's just go from like the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, so like sidereal astrology, if you look up the etymology in sidereal, it breaks down to a word starlight. I think
Hmm.
in my study, the understanding of the ancient person was that we were related to the stars, like they were like our distant cousins of some sort. So we utilize the stars in three different ways. You have your sun, which tells you the hours. Now, the sun in Egyptian mythology would be Ra or Horus, but if you switch up Horus, what you get? Hours. So the sun tells us the hours in a day, which is very important. You know, you get a good feel for time when it's going to get dark, things of that nature, because you really relied on the stars from an ancient perspective because you needed to know what day of the month it was. There wasn't calendars or iPhones and things of that nature. So you had to look up and see, oh, it's a quarter moon. That means that it's either the seventh day of the month or the 21st day of the month. Um, so you have your sun, you have your moon, but then you have your wandering stars that tell you about the year. This is very important because you need to know the difference between spring and fall. Because if you don't know the difference between spring and fall, the winter time comes, you're gonna starve, and you like harvest was basically life. So I don't think that we've changed much from then to now. I just think that there was a system put in place by a man named Ptolemy. His name
Uh-huh.
in 2,000 years ago. He's seen astrology as a system of mathematical proportions that, I don't know exactly why he did it, but he put in an astrology system that was based upon ancient Babylonian records. But the ancient Babylonian records came from a time where the earth is no longer vibrating on. And to make a long story short, if you got me a car from 1921, if it hasn't been fixed on or worked on or nothing, I wouldn't be able to drive it because it's old. You need something present. You need something now to have the full functionality. So when people study a Western chart, they're not studying a chart of today or a chart of any time because the constellations, they're not 30 degrees in equal measure. Along our ecliptic, there are not 12 constellations. There's actually 13 constellations. I'm not saying nothing far out. I'm just speaking the truth. So
Yeah.
when you look at the ecliptic, Ophiuchus is on the ecliptic in real life. Like if you have a Star Walk app or astronomy, you'll say,
Hmm.
"Oh, there's 13 signs, and they're different sizes." So when you just have to begin to observe, it's slightly difficult because there's not a system for you to follow when it comes to sidereal astrology. Is mainly understanding it from a present point of view, where it's actually at. And what I've learned from doing readings is more accurate.
Yeah.
Quite naturally, it's just more accurate. So I'm able to communicate in ways to people. For yesterday, I did a chart for somebody who thought their moon was in Leo, and in
Hmm.
Sidereal, their moon is in Virgo. And when I spoke to them, it was an instant resonation. And they was like, man, I never vibrated with the Leo moon. I never fully understood it. But now this Virgo moon is like, yeah, I
Uh-huh.
need to be out in nature. I need to connect to the goddess. Like that resonates. So it's like a subtle 24-degree shift in your chart, an examination, re-examination of your chart. I would dare to say that you would find more accurate information in studying your sidereal chart. You might just
Absolutely.
be used to the Western chart, but it's not in relation to no amount of truth at all.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. You
that's
would say,
in a
would you
nutshell.
say it's like speaks more to the soul in
It speaks
essence?
more to the soul and the star-like essence of
Yeah.
our divinity, which we
Yeah.
hold aspects of. In reference to the universe, it's mainly hydrogen. The
Mm.
earth is not hydrogen. Human beings are hydrogen beings. Like if you are not hydrated, you are
Yeah.
dehydrated and it is over for you. So
Interesting.
we are cosmic beings in a earth-like vessel. So it's like we have
Yeah.
to really understand our power, and a lot of our power is just in being present and hydrating and understanding
That's a
these types
fact.
of things.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a one thing after, I mean, I've been in the holistics for, I mean, what, 20 years now. And it's
Right?
like, that's what I'm telling people to do after everything. It's like, are you drinking water? Are we
Are you
hydrating?
present? Or are you thinking about what happened last month with such and such? Are you worried
Yeah.
about the future? And it's just like
Uh-huh.
right
Uh-huh.
now, let's drink some water.
Yes. Absolutely. So I wanted to ask you, there's something to do now. I was listening to something, I don't know if it was you or somebody else.
Mhm.
Something with the equinox, like the wobble. Is
Oh
that, do you
yeah,
know what I'm talking?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can
I know what you're
you
talking
explain
about. So
that? Can
like
you?
another aspect of sidereal astrology is that it's a sidereal day and then there's a solar day. So a
Mm-hmm.
sidereal day is shorter than a solar day because our minds, we have to think that at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. a new day starts, when in fact a day start at like 11:59 or 11:56, right? So imagine if your clock, like at the top of it, is like 11:56, like instead of 12, right? But then
Right.
it's constantly adjusted. It's too complicated for us to come up with a system
Right.
to track
As-
a
mhm.
sidereal day because it's not 12 hours or 24 hours. That's humans trying to make something perfect that's not perfect.
That's right. Yes,
Right?
and I'm
Yeah.
so glad. Yeah. I'm
It's
glad
like
to mention
nature.
this because, yeah, it's so valid to just the whole experience, isn't it? And it's like,
Hmm.
it's like we try to make something out of, like, it's like, no, we just never let things just be and just allow it. Like we want to like make it this thing, this time, this way. I mean,
Yeah,
it's very
even
interesting.
down to
It's very
our
interesting.
days. Our days are not perfect. Our days are random,
Right.
right? So it's like
Man.
sidereal astrology is you being in alignment with the stars. And I honestly
Mhm.
feel that when we are misaligned with the stars, we are
Mhm.
just kind of waiting for disaster to happen. Now, look at the etymology of disaster. You have dis and aster, disconnected or to be separated from aster,
Uh-huh.
star,
Yeah.
astron. So, the etymology of disaster is to be disconnected from the stars. So, when you introduce to astrology, you are introduced to a disconnected understanding. And trust me, it was because I was studying astrology every single day from a Western perspective that I was just like, this is cool, but no, I need to go deeper. And that's where I found sidereal astrology because I was in the Western. So it's not like I'm just not familiar with Western astrology. It's more of this is the
Yep.
more accurate form and it's more of not having a system, like no
Hmm?
system once at all. Like really, I look at astrology through the Star Walk app, and it's not like an astrological chart. It's like the cosmos and the planets, and
It's
like
it.
you're just looking at that, and it's like I might journal what the placements are actually on the Star Walk app, and not look at a map or a chart at all. It's just like just
Yeah.
observing the stars.
Yeah, and I love that that's how you put it. It's observing the stars. I mean, that's what we're called to do is adepts is just observe.
Yes.
Observe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's
Yeah.
the most powerful aspect of our spiritual ability
Mhm.
to be observant
Mhm.
and aware because what tends to happen, the best thing will happen from you being observant and taking a left where everybody is taking a right. But you see
Exactly.
something, right? Because you are present and observant. It's the ultimate life hack. Because I was
Uh-huh.
reading something yesterday and they were talking about how you can walk throughout the city and nobody will notice you until you want to start noticing people, right? If you're not looking
Uh-huh.
at nobody, nobody's really looking at you. But when you start looking
Yeah.
at people, you ever notice when you look at people, they start looking at you back. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. That's it. It's true. It's so true. So true. Man.
We can alter our reality based upon what we decide to do. It's some people who say, I'm going
It's
to
just,
stand
yes.
out on the corner and
Oh
sell
my
these
God.
things, and they sell these things. And then it's another person that say, I have no money. I don't know what I'm going to do. And
Uh,
it's like,
it's it's a choice point, right? It's a choice
yeah,
point. It's always like it's like we choose. You choose. you do it or you don't.
Yeah,
You
get
make a
out there or
decision.
you're not. You
Yeah,
focus and build and help and pour into people, or you don't, and you
that's
isolate
it.
yourself, or you figure
Yeah.
out how to be emotionally intelligent and
Uh,
not get triggered so easily, so you can build relationships. But
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
choice point.
It is. It is. It is. Always.
Yeah.
Always is. Um, well, okay, so let's one more thing I wanted to touch on
Uh-huh.
in this conversation is the nakshatras because we talked about that last week.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because that's something that kind of falls in alignment with the sidereal as well. And it's
Mhm.
something we don't talk about in tropical at all. I mean, I
Right.
never, yeah. And being that it is like the more intimate side of self, we speak into that the nakshatras and
Yeah.
what they
So,
are.
in Vedic thought, there is a such thing as a lunar mansion. When you introduce to Vedic astrology, in Western astrology, you get conditioned with the sun sign. So everybody is like, I'm a Virgo, I'm a this, I'm a that, right? And they're representing their sun sign. So let's do this. Say, just for instance, the sun is in Virgo for 30 days. So you
Mm-hmm.
have everybody that's born within that 30 days. Let's just say a million people who can identify as Sun and Virgo. Are those million people going to be alike versus how long is the moon in Virgo? 2 to 3 days. So that's a smaller section of people and they have more of a resonance with each other. Like, so the moon is more of a identification of true personality because it's like a faster moving planet. So
Mm-hmm.
the moon is more of a identification of personality. So you have your wandering star, the moon, and the places that it travels through. So it travels through 27 different mansions. And we're
Mm-hmm.
utilizing mansions instead of houses because in our sun sign in our regular astrological chart or our planets, they exist in houses. Your moon exists in a mansion. If you are able to understand your nakshatra and your moon sign, you get more of a deeper understanding of yourself versus, hey, I'm a Virgo, you're a Virgo, and we are nothing alike. So it's like, it's
I
like,
love Virgos. Oh my
right,
God.
yeah, right. Like, what are you actually
Okay.
talking about? Like, seriously.
I know.
Our
I
lunar
know.
mansion is deeply connected to a fixed star in some it's like multiple constellations. So you might have two or three fixed stars. You have an alpha star, a beta star, gamma star, omicron star in each constellation. So
Hmm.
the alpha star in each constellation constitutes a specific lunar mansion. And with each lunar mansion, there are also opposites. So the nakshatra is a yoni nakshatra or it
Hmm.
is a phallic nakshatra. You
Hmm.
could people use this in India for dating and relationship matters because it is super powerful when you have a yoni nakshatra match with a phallic nakshatra. When I do synastry charts, I would say 75% of the healthy relationships have the woman has a yoni nakshatra and the male has a phallus or vice versa and
Hmm.
they match and there's an opposite. Me and my wife, right? We
Okay.
have matching nakshatras. So you can utilize your nakshatra for magic. You can utilize your nakshatra for just deification. Your moon
Hmm.
sign, your emotions are very powerful. And when you do not identify these things, they become like a extreme detriment to us because we try. It's a lot of people that try
Yeah.
so hard on the external and never sit with themselves to get a full understanding of what I actually want. Sometimes they're trying to fulfill their mom or their dad or their partner or their children, and they have no contact with their moon and their subconscious mind. So to
Right.
I suggest everybody know their nakshatra and study their nakshatra. On Google, they'll have Anuradha nakshatra for men, Anuradha
Mm-hmm.
nakshatra for women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
each nakshatra is broken up like that. So
Hey, Hood, what is yours? What
my
is your nishana?
nakshatra,
Uh-huh.
my nakshatra is Ashwini.
Okay. And what
Mhm.
is your wife?
My Anuradha.
Okay. Cool. Just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
No, you good.
so so but you were saying you could look on Google. Is there, that's what I was gonna ask you, like, do you
Mhm.
know a good source? Because some of those sources
Yeah,
I've looked at
yeah.
and I'm like, it's all right. Some of them I'm like, you must
Wah,
hate
wah,
Rohini the way you
wah.
wrote that.
The
Somebody
only
had an
thing
issue with Rohini.
the only thing that I can say, cause yeah, you 100% right. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
full on people from India writing these chakra. That's why my book that I'm writing, I'm not rushing it, but definitely by the end of 2022, going into 2023, I'll have like an English American translation of the chakras. But
Right.
one of the
Well, I'm
best
looking forward
books
to it.
that I read on the chakras is I'm gonna tell you. I'm just pulling it up right quick because I want to give you the right name for it. It is called Untold Nakshatra Joytish. So that's Joytish.
Okay, say that one more time. Sorry.
Untold
Uh-huh.
Nakshatra Joytish. Joytish.
J. Okay. Okay,
It's
cool.
I reference it all the time, like all the time. It's an
Yeah.
awesome reference book for nakshatras. It
Okay,
tells you the
cool.
fixed stars. It's kind of hard to read, but you're just gonna have to like
Yeah.
skip over the parts where they're
We'll just
speaking
see.
in Indian Sanskrit. Like,
Okay.
but no, it's not like it's a must have though at the same time.
Okay.
You'll understand what I'm talking about. There'll be parts where you're just like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but there'll also be parts where there's like that's extremely enlightening. So it associates every deity and every fixed star with the nakshatra. So
Okay, cool.
understanding and getting an intimate view of your nakshatra is very important for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very into it right now, so
Mhm.
I love it. I'll check that out. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Oh no, it's
Again.
my pleasure. It was super cool and super fun. And this time
Yeah.
clear audio, so we in the game
Yeah.
now.
Hopefully it stayed that way. That's my prayer.
Yeah,
I feel good. I feel good
I
today, so
didn't
we'll see
hear
how.
no echo at all. So, I feel like
Okay,
it's gonna
good.
be super cool.
Okay. Now, and also, what's your, again, it's hoodmystic.com, the
Yeah, that's
hoodmystic.com?
that's where you get everything at, all of my links,
Right.
everything, blog, whatever. Just keep up with me at hoodmystic.com.
Perfect. And he's got readings if you want a sidereal reading or
Finding for reading.
find out your nakshatra. Check out
Yeah.
Hood. Yeah, and I hope to have we'll talk again here soon because I really enjoy
Oh,
it.
we locked in. We might do like I feel like we do this every month or something like that.
But yeah,
Just touch bases or something. I just like the flow and the conversation that me and you
definitely.
have. So whenever you want to talk, um, just let me know. I'm gonna pull up
All right, we're gonna do it then. Thank you
for
so
sure.
much.
No
All
problem.
right.
Brother. Talk to you
Yeah.
soon.
Talk to you soon too.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.